how are you? Welcome back, first of all.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
It's good to see
Yeah, we had so much fun last year that we had to do it again.
Yeah.
Hell, let's do it again next year. No.
We should, right?
You know, I think we might maybe take a break and then maybe 2 years. But
Okay.
keep it fresh, you know?
Okay, I appreciate that.
Whatever he wants to do is fine. However he wants to do it.
Yeah, I guess, not up to us, but we shall see. So how has your experience been here so far today?
It's been great. As usual, I've met a lot of really nice people and got to know where everybody's coming from and why they've come all this way. Some of you from Japan, from Australia, and I just think it's like we got, once again, as I've said so many times, ad nauseum, you guys are the best fans in the world. You really are. And it's like you've stuck with us for 25 years, and God bless you.
For you guys.
This is for you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's so interesting, to go to different conventions, but I have to say, X-Fest, people come out. I mean, like you said, they're coming from Australia, from China. I mean, that I think just goes to show how impactful the X-Files is, not just in America, but all over the entire world.
Yeah, no, it's great to have been part of something that has had such, as you say, impact on television and on a lot of different aspects of some people's lives. It's really I mean, like there's a lot of people that have been affected by the show, and it's very gratifying to know that.
Awesome. And I think it's cool that they get to come here and, tell you about their experiences and how it has impacted them. So
And I'm meeting like third generations of fans, kids are like 10 years old, binge watching the show. I love you. I love you to death, and I love your parents for turning you on to the show.
And there's a baby here. I mean, we have like a little tiny...
Keep it going,
We have
man.
a little baby.
Shit.
I mean, I'm not sure.
Sorry, baby.
And the baby's like dressed... The baby's like wearing like an X-File. It's adorable. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. What was your audition process like from the show? So from what I've been researching, you had been called in to read for other parts before you finally landed the role of Skinner. So
Right.
What was that process like?
I had auditioned for the show twice before for different roles. I think they were both FBI characters. And I didn't get them. At the time, my head was shaved, and Chris he just didn't think it was right for the characters that I was reading for. So I grew what hair that I had back, and there ain't much up there, folks, in a lot of respects. But I went, they called me back in to read for Skinner, and I was like, I said to my agent, I said, I don't want to go in because he's seen me twice, and I was being a total idiot. I don't know, at that point in my career, I don't know what made me think that I should be behaving like that, but I was just stupid. But because of the way things were and the way I was at that time, I went into the audition. I finally agreed to go in, and I went into the audition with a very surly attitude, and fortunately, that's what Chris wanted for the character.
Well, perfect then.
And boy, I gave him a lot too in that audition.
So having already auditioned twice previously, what did you know about the show when you finally landed the role?
I still didn't really know that much about it. I knew that it was about aliens and conspiracy and what it's about. I had heard some, and I had heard about, I'd heard a lot of actors talking about how much they wanted to do this really cool new show, and how great these two characters were that were on the show, Mulder and Scully. And I mean, a lot of the actors that were watching the show and reading the scripts were very impressed by what what was on the page and what they had seen. And I was hearing this, and I thought, okay, this might be a good one to try to get on. So fortunately, I did not get cast in either of those two roles.
Right, because it might have turned out differently, right?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't have been available to play Skinner, so it would have totally ruined my life.
Oh no, Mitch. Well, we're glad you were available.
Okay, thank you.
When you were actually filming the show, did you know what? Oh, my nails? Oh, yeah. They're... when you were actually filming the show, did you guys know how special it was going to be? Like,
Well, David thought it was going to be 6 episodes and out. He said, nobody's going to watch a show about this. And boy, was he wrong. 25 years later, here we are. And by the way, David texted and he said to say hi to all you guys. Sends his love. Sends his love.
Well, that's awesome.
I said, why aren't you here? He's out making music.
Okay, well.
Damn him. Shit. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous of the fact that he's doing music and I'm not.
Do you want to do music?
Yeah, baby.
Oh, okay.
I'm a singer.
Ooh. What do you like to sing?
I like to sing a lot of stuff. Right now I'm singing a lot of Jim Croce and
He's my favorite.
Is he really?
He's my number one. I'm not even.
Honey, I'll sing you some Jim Croce one of these days.
Why not?
Right now. Y'all aren't paying for it.
You don't tug on Superman's cape.
What's that?
You don't spit in the wind, right?
You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind. You don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim. Well, a hush fell over the pool room as Jimmy come bopping in off the street. And when the cutting was done, the only part that wasn't bloody was the soles of the big man's feet. Yeah, he was cutting about 100 places, shot in a couple more. And you better believe it was a different kind of story when Big Jim hit the floor. Oh, don't you know? That's it. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
Wow. Thank you for that. Wow. Okay.
You got a good voice too, girl.
Thank you.
Right.
I appreciate that. But Jim Croce's my number one. Anyway, we'll talk about that after. Okay. So one of the other things when I was doing my research that I thought was interesting was you would receive fan letters from Vietnam vets. Is this true?
I received a lot of fan mail from a lot of different people, and there were definitely some vets. Sure.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What would you say was the biggest character arc of Skinner?
Oh, gosh. Well, I mean, his transition from being, pretty much an opposing force to Mulder and Scully, seemingly in cahoots with CSM to becoming their champion within the FBI was a pretty massive character arc, yeah.
Sorry, I'm still thinking about you singing. You caught me off guard there. Anyway, so we have a microphone that's set up right in the middle of the room. So whatever questions you have for Mitch, is anything off limits here today? Or?
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll find out.
Maybe.
Don't be shy. Y'all get up and ask me some questions. Come on.
All right.
Except for Dita. Dita can't ask me any questions.
Well, wait, the first question I have for the audience, though, are there any Pileggis here in the house? I know they come out. All right. They have made themselves known. We can continue.
Bullshit. You're a bunch of gishies. But I still love you. Hi, darling.
Hello.
And I'm sorry if anybody's offended by me calling him darling. It's too bad. Just the way I am.
I was wondering, do you have any favorite TV shows besides the X-Files, of course?
Now I'm watching. As soon as somebody asks me a question like that, I'm watching Barry. I'm watching. There's a show called Ozark, which is great. Jason Bateman and tell me, Laura Linney. Thank you. She's friggin' amazing. Everybody on that show is amazing. I'm watching. Oh man, I'm watching a bunch of stuff on Netflix and Amazon and Hulu. I don't really watch much network, but network television. But there's a lot of really good stuff on there that I'm enjoying.
Great, thank you.
What do you watch?
Man.
I know, right? When somebody asks you something, it just goes right out of your head. There's a lot of really good shows that I'm watching right now.
Yeah, I really like Barry, Better Call Saul. I'm trying to think what else is on right now.
Sons of Anarchy?
I haven't watched that. Sex Education? Really? Is it dirty? Yeah, I'll be watching that.
Thank you.
All right, darling. Hi.
Hi. So this might be a little bit off limits, but
Well, then you better say it loud.
by the end of season 11, the car came in and you got underneath the car. Did you survive?
I didn't hurt at all.
Did you survive?
I did. Whether or not you'll ever see this cat on the screen again or not, I don't know. But Chris Carter immediately called me and said, "You are not dead." Just in case. So, thank you for the question, honey.
I loved her reaction. She literally went, yes!
Good girl.
Hey, Mitch.
Hey.
Hey, I just wanted to ask you, what was it like working with your wife on the X-Files?
It was funny because she couldn't. Every time when she started playing my secretary, every time she would walk into the office to deliver her line, and I turned around to her in Skinner mode, she just would burst out laughing. Because she was like, "That's so not you." I said, well, it's Skinner.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It was so funny because when we moved the show from Vancouver to L.A., I lost the girl who was playing my assistant in Vancouver was Canadian, so she didn't move down with us. She later moved down to become a huge casting director, Wendy O'Brien. So when we got down to L.A., Arlene got on the phone and called Chris and said, "I want to be Mitch's new assistant." And Chris can't say no to my wife, so he said, "Okay." And she started doing it, and it was fun. We had a good time.
I liked that. Yeah, that's.
Thank you,
must
man.
pretty nice for you, huh?
It was great. It was great. Yeah, I mean, she was Jillian's photo double on the show, so that's where I met her, and she was always on set anyway. I didn't meet her until the third season because she was always on second unit being Scully. You know, so a lot of times when you think you're looking at Jillian, you're looking at my wife.
I know.
Running in heels
in
in the scene where you see Scully in the background running back and forth trying to show Taya Leone. That was Arlene. She was running her ass off.
Thanks.
You bet.
Impressive. Wow.
She can run.
Hi, Mitch.
Hey.
My question, you've done so much awesome television in the last couple of years, especially since X-Files left. Are there any writers, producers, directors that you would love to be working with right now?
You know, I don't really know. I'm not that familiar with who's doing what.
Okay.
To be quite honest, I don't know a lot of names. I don't. You know, it's like if a piece. If I read a script and it appeals to me, actually, I don't read. When I get an offer, when I get a script sent to me, I don't read it. My wife reads it. Arlene reads it because she's got so much. She's got such a better take on whether something is good. I'll look at something and go, "Oh, this is really good," and she'll read it and she'll go, "No," and I go, "Oh, okay," because I won't be doing that. So she really is a good barometer for me to be able to tell if something is good. But as far as actual names of directors or producers that I want to work with, it's like, there's nobody that I can really think of.
We should get you on Black Mirror, I think.
Sorry?
Black Mirror.
But I haven't watched it that much, so I don't really know. Well, I think I saw one episode of it. I haven't watched it, but is it good?
Yes, every episode is different, so it's not like a continuing. You're not following the same characters.
It's like a
throughout.
Twilight Zone almost.
Yeah, it's like a Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I like that shit, so maybe, yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Mel.
It's me. I was going to ask you about singing, but we covered that. So I'm going to ask you about Access Sally. You did a film recently.
I did a movie with Al Pacino.
Yeah, I want to hear about it. I want to hear all about it because I'm excited to go to the movie.
Yeah,
theater
it
and
was.
see
I went to Port. I got a call from a friend of mine actually, who asked me if I'd come down and do one day, working on this movie called Access Sally, and I thought, I can't go down there just for one day to do one scene. He goes, but it's with Al Pacino. I was like, yeah, that's great, but I said no. And then I got a call. My agents called up and they said, listen, we got an offer for you to do this movie, Access Sally. And I said, I already turned it down. They go, what? They go, it's playing the opposing attorney to Al Pacino. And I go, that's not the role that I was offered. They go, well, it's the role they're offering you now.
Nice.
So I ended up spending 2 weeks in a courtroom with Al Pacino, going back and forth with him, and it was glorious.
Awesome.
I said to him, I told him one day, I said, Al, I've been waiting 30 years for moments like this. It was like we were both just chewing some scenery, man. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. So.
Well, the pledges will be there opening day.
You're very sweet. Thank you, Mel.
Thank you.
You bet. Hey.
Hi, I'm Lindsay.
Hi, Lindsay.
I'm just wondering, in the episode The Truth, Mulder and Scully share quite a passionate kiss, and Skinner's in the background.
Going, shit!
He always comes across to me, he's like very awkward, and I just wondered, did you feel awkward while they were?
Did I feel awkward? No, but I thought it was appropriate for him to be feel like why am I here and why they're and like, oh my God, they're kissing. Oh.
Did Skinner know at that point that they were?
What's that?
Did Skinner know at that point that they were together, or was that the first?
I think he always knew that there was that type of feeling that they had for each other, you know. Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was actually kind of fun to play that scene, you know, while they're back there slobbering all over each other. So.
Yeah. Were you jealous?
Fucking A. Now listen, I got her photo double, so I'm good.
I don't know how I can possibly follow that, but I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about
Get a little closer to the mic.
a little bit about your experience with the Audible books and recording that.
With the Audible books?
Yeah, and what kind of books do you like to read?
God, you know, I just haven't been reading very much lately. I read a lot of sci-fi. I read a lot of horror, a lot of supernatural. So the same kind of stuff that I usually work on. That was a lot of fun to do those books. I really, because you got to create the scene in your head when you're in this little. I mean, we were literally in like a 4x4 booth, you know, or I was. I'm sure David and Jillian were, but it was a lot of fun to be able to to create the images in your mind of the scene that you're playing and what's transpiring, what's going on, and to try to bring it to life as much as you could. I haven't heard them yet. Are they good? Are they any good?
Yes, they're really good.
Good. I've heard that. I mean, people have said that they're really good. So, it was fun. I really dug it, and it'd be fun to do more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How long does something like that take to create?
I think I was in there a couple times. I think I would do one book in about, I don't know. God, I can't even remember. I think I was in there for maybe 4 hours, 5 hours. The hardest thing that I've ever done in relation to this show is when I had to do the audiobooks, where I had to do the whole book, and I had to do Mulder's voice, I had to do Scully's voice, I had to do Krychek's, I had to do all these different characters, and it's really hard to try to bring their cadences and their delivery and just the way that they would play the characters. It was very hard to do that, and those went on for like 8-9 hours. So you're sitting there in a booth, once again, just talking, reading, for like 8 or 9 hours. And that was tough.
How's your Scully voice?
It ain't pretty. And it wasn't even really much that I was like I was trying to do a high-pitched voice or anything. It was just trying to get her, her inflections and cadences. Yeah.
Hey, it's Teresa Rothar from Jacksonville, Florida. How you doing today?
I'm good. I've shot in Jacksonville before, a couple times.
Every time I say I'm from Jacksonville, everybody always says they know somebody there or they live there at some point.
It's a big-ass town.
Yeah. Very, as far as landmass
spread
goes.
out, yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to ask you, I really liked your turn on NCIS. Are we going to be seeing more of you as Secnav on NCIS?
Man, I hope so, because it's a really fun character to play. It's almost like a combination of Skinner and Harris Ryland from Dallas. And they let me do my Texas accent. I got to make him a kind of a good old boy asshole. It's really I know that the last episode that I did, they left it open for him to come back, and Mark told me that I'd be back. So,
oh, cool.
And Mark Harmon is one of the nicest people in the world. He is such a good dude, and that whole set, he sets the tone. because that is one of the greatest sets to work on that I've ever been on. It's like everybody is, and I've worked with Wilmer, Valderez before, and I worked with Rocky Carroll before, so it's kind of cool to be able to go back and I worked with them a long time ago. Valderrama, I'm sorry. It's cool to run into those guys and to work with them again.
It's strange that you just said that, because my husband knows a guy who does some of the promotional tapes for NCIS, Gary Kumar. I doubt if you know this man, but he said the same thing, that NCIS is just one of the nicest sets that he's ever worked on.
It is. It really is. It's a joy. It's a joy to go onto the set, because it's like I said, he sets the tone, and everybody follows through with it. So that's huge.
Cool. Hope to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you see me again on it, because I'm having a ball doing it.
Hi. Hey, I was wondering if you could comment on how you got started in acting, and perhaps if you ever pursued any other careers besides acting.
I had a whole other career before I started. I acted in high school, doing musical theater, which kind of just happened because I was playing sports. I was playing football and wrestling, and after the football season was over, I was taking a chorus course, and just because I thought it would be an easy grade, and I was not a very good student, so I was too busy playing sports and chasing girls. So it was my priorities were elsewhere. So I thought I'd take this chorus class. And one day, this woman who was sitting at the piano in the front of the class called my name and told me to come up. And my girlfriend and some of the other girls in the class had told her that I could sing. And so she said, I understand you can sing. And I go, no. And she goes, well, I hear you can. And so anyway, she made me sing Maria from West Side Story. And I ended up playing Tony in West Side Story. So, and that was, man, I got on the stage and I started singing, and I got that audience response, and I was like, this is pretty cool. I like this. But I went on to, went to college for a while, and then I started working on DoD, Department of Defense contracts over in the Middle East for a long time. And then I was in Iran when the revolution started, so I decided I would leave. And I came back to the States and decided I wanted to try to find something else to do. And I ended up going down to Texas, to Austin, and started doing community theater. Once again, got on the stage, got my first laugh, and I was like I said, this is where I want to be. And I did theater. I did like back-to-back plays for about 3 years in Austin. And at one point, I just decided that I wanted to try to see if I could make a career out of it. So I came out to LA, and walked into a room one day and met Wes Craven. And that was the beginning. And then I walked into another room and I met Chris Carter, and that took me even further. So I was very, very fortunate, very, very fortunate. It's a tough business, it really is, to make it, yeah.
Well, and if I can just offer potentially a controversial comment, I don't mean any disrespect to any of the fellow fans, but I think your voice is better than David's, so I encourage you to make that album.
Hush.
That's what you should text him back. No, I'm just kidding.
Listen, David's working his ass off on his voice and on his music, and I am so impressed that he does what he does. He's doing what he wants to do, and I think it's friggin' amazing. So I take my hat off to him. And I'm jealous as shit that I can't do it.
So we have about 5 minutes left, so we have time for a few more questions. So in the meantime, could you see yourself doing live theater again? Is that something you think you'd like to pursue?
I love doing theater. I went back to Texas about 3 or 4 years ago and did a play at the same theater that I started doing theater at. This was a theater that, when I originally started doing theater down there, I was in the morning, I was the bookkeeper, then I was the janitor. I would clean the toilets in the theater, I would clean the risers, clean all the theater room, prepare it for the evening's performances. Later on in the afternoon, I would help build sets, and then at night I would perform, and I was in heaven. Didn't make any money doing it, but I was in heaven.
Do you have a show that maybe stands out as something you would like to be in?
you know, there's some musicals that I'd like to do. I've said many times I'd like to play Big Daddy on Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. But I mean, I'd love to play. You know, Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof. I'd love to play Fagin. You know, in Oliver. You know, so there's a lot of roles that, and I would love to play. I played Pontius Pilate in Jesus Christ Superstar, and it was glorious. I would love to play that character again because I think my voice is a lot better now than it was then. I've learned different things about my voice that I didn't know back then.
Well, here's hoping. All right.
Thank you.
We'll take these final 3 questions.
Hi, Mitch.
Hi.
Could you tell us a little bit else about what's in your queue, what you're working on, etc.?
Well, I did the movie Access Sally that I did with Mr. Pacino. I did a movie called Desert Shadows, shot in Reno. And these should be coming out next year. I think the movie that I did may be coming out, the movie Polaroid that we did a couple years ago, that was a Weinstein movie that they had to get his name off of it before they could do anything with it. I think Netflix bought that, so that may be, I don't know if you can see it now or not. I haven't seen it, but and then hopefully NCIS will keep going for me. And then, you know, I'm being very choosy right now about what I want to do because I did the X-Files for so long, I can afford to. And there's just certain things that I want to do now because I don't want to. There's a lot of stuff that I've already done that I just don't want to do anymore. So
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi.
There's a lady from Australia right here. Yeah, Australia. Let's give it up for Australia.
G'day.
G'day.
G'day, mate. Concerning the subject matter that flowed through the various seasons, the subject matter of UFOs, conspiracy, the possibility of ET, etc., even though the various roles that the cast had is just a job at the end of the day, was there ever a time when, off-screen, anyone ever discussed this topic among themselves?
No.
Or take any interest whatsoever?
No, we never really. I mean, because we were pretty much living it for a long time. So I think when the, you know, at the end of the day, I don't think we would sit around and talk about it. I mean, I think we all have our different beliefs and attitudes about it. Yeah, no, we wouldn't sit around and discuss it.
Good. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
All right, the final
What
question.
do you want? Data. This here's data.
I'm sorry about the T-shirt though.
Yeah. Kishish.
So when you finally drop that album, right? What's the title gonna be? What is your band name and what genre of music?
Oh man, you ask me the hardest stinking questions. I swear to God, you put me on the spot with these things, don't you?
You should ask Annabeth. I asked her like 3
Did you?
questions. Yeah.
Well, she's a lot smarter than I am. The album?
What's the album title, your band name, and genre of music?
God, okay. No, you make something up for me. What should it be? What should be? Leonard Skinner. Thank you, Ken. Ken, ladies and gentlemen, Ken Francis. I don't know. I'm not that creative. You know I'm not that creative, and that's why you ask me these things, to make me look stupid, don't you? This
That is
woman,
the goal,
the abuse I take from this woman is just, if when I was still on Twitter, you'd be able to witness some of the things that she did to me.
My deepest apologies.
Yeah, right. I love you, Dita.
Well, on that note, any final thoughts you want to leave us with here today?
No, just that I thank you guys so much for coming again, and hopefully we'll do it, again at some point. And I love you.
One more time, Mitch Pileggi, everybody.